I just got back from the largest Black medical conference. Hello, my name is Jaden Bryant, and welcome to. I just got back from AMEC 2026 in Pittsburgh. For those of you who don't know, AMEC is the annual medical education conference, which is the flagship event for the SNMA, the Student National Medical Association, which is the oldest and largest student-run organization that's made to help pre-meds and medical students and underrepresented minorities in medicine. And the mission of the organization is to help the underserved communities and expand access to healthcare, which is something I genuinely care a lot about, something that aligns close with my goals. Personally, I was in the MAPS chapter at Howard in my undergrad, and so I knew SNMA was something that I wanted to be a part of as soon as I got here. So I ended up, and now I'm on the e-board as a M1 liaison, which I just help to communicate the chapter events to my class. And a part of that, I was able to get sponsored to go and attend AMEC this year, which was in Pittsburgh. Super exciting event. I love it. I'm making this video because it was such a cool event, and I didn't know much about AMEC before going, and so now I want to share what I learned, and hopefully you guys will be inspired to go next year. Because I'm on the e-board, I knew that I was going to get sponsored to go, so I had bought my ticket in first semester of my first year of med school. But I didn't realize that until the schedule came out that I was going to have a bunch of tests on the week of AMEC. And so AMEC is always the weekend of Easter. My school, we had a final exam on Monday, today, the day after AMEC. And AMEC this year was from April 1st through April 5th. Today is April 6th, Monday. April 30th, I had a quiz, and or not April 30th. March 30th, I had a quiz, and then April 1st, I had a anatomy lab practical. So it was a very busy week for me. But I knew, since I had bought my ticket a semester in advance, I knew this was something I wanted to do. And because I had the opportunity of being sponsored, I was like, okay, I'm going to put in the work beforehand so I can actually go to this event and enjoy and do all the networking that I want to do. So yeah, but it was an amazing experience. I'm going to spend this video walking y'all through what I did every day while I was there, the kind of events I attended, what my overall experience was like, what I wish I knew, what I learned, and yeah, so we'll go from there. Okay, so like I said before, I had an anatomy lab practical that Wednesday. My flight was early Thursday morning. I get there. Luckily, we were staying in the hotel where AMEC was being held, the Westin in Pittsburgh. I get to the conference and I change into my suit, and then I head down to the main exhibit hall. I walk in and I see all of the residency programs and all these different tables set up in the exhibit hall. And at first it was super nerve-wracking. It was just oh my gosh, it was so many people here. So many obviously med students, but also residents, and even some attendings were on the floor. And it's just a free-for-all. You go and talk to whoever you want to talk to. And at first that was really nerve-wracking for me. And honestly, when I got there, I just took a lap or two, just walking around, taking it all in. I was wow, this is real, seeing all the future Black healthcare professionals around me. It was wow, it was super cool. But yeah, so I saw one of the M4s at my school who's been kind of a mentor to me, especially in SNMA. And I told him yeah, man, I want to talk to all these people, but I feel kind of nervous. I don't know. It was just my first time at AMEC. It was a lot going on. He helped me warm up by introducing me to one of his mentors, and just talking to him and talking, it was okay, it's allowed me to warm up a little bit. I was okay, good. Now I was starting to feel like myself, and I was able to actually go from table to table and actually start talking to people. And I feel that's one of the beautiful things about AMEC is that, at least from what I heard, especially this being my first medical conference, I didn't know really what to expect. But the beautiful thing about AMEC is that every person that you're talking to is a minority, either a minority resident or attending or whatever, and they want to see you be successful. So it made it so much easier to talk to people because they're so much more receptive to your questions and actually wanting to talk to you. There's a few times where I'm talking to somebody and they're like, "Oh yeah, do you want my number?" I'm like, "Oh yes, please, let's connect." I love that. Um, and yeah, it just made it so much easier to open up and start to talk to people. Um, so I went from like table to table, asking questions about different residency programs, um, different specialties, and all that. It was super cool. Yeah, so I was at the exhibit hall that first day, Thursday from 3 to 4, and then because I'm on the e-board at Meharry's chapter, and yeah, because I'm on the e-board at Meharry's chapter, I had the opportunity to serve on the House of Delegates, and because SNMA is a national organization, there's leadership levels all the way from chapter level to the region level. Like Meharry's a part of Region 10, so you can even have like regional leadership, and then there's national leadership. And getting to serve on the House of Delegates, I got to sit in on these meetings and actually vote and help decide and make changes representing Meharry and representing Region 10 for SNMA, which was super cool. My first HOD meeting or House of Delegates meeting was actually the SNMA National Treasurer giving a report of the funds and stuff. And SNMA is a nonprofit organization, but like just seeing the numbers, it was like gave me a real sense of like how big this organization was, which was like super cool. It lets you know this is much bigger than myself, you know. And then Thursday night, you know, a big thing that people talk about when it comes to AMEC is the party scene. There's like AMEC official parties, and there's Mad Tracks parties, and everybody's like so excited about the parties and stuff. But I feel like you have to remember this is still like a medical conference, you know. You have to be mindful of the people who are around you, that these are other med students and residents and attendings. You know, keep it classy, especially you don't want to get, you have to remember you're going to be out on the floor and the next day still shaking hands, still like introducing yourself to people. So just keep that in mind. I would say another tip is that because there's so many people at these events that the lines get pretty long, so you might be waiting outside for a long time. And yeah, so I feel like just be generally nice to people. There was one time where I was talking to some guy for like a good 5-10 minutes, and I was like, "Oh yeah, so like, what school are you at?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm not in school." I was like, "Oh, okay, so you're a resident. Like, what residency program are you in?" And he was like, "Oh no, I'm an attending." I was like, "Oh, you're an attending." It was just like such a mind blowing experience, honestly. Because then you're like talking to them almost as equals, and all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, I'm a first year medical student. You're an attending." It's like there's a difference there, you know. But it was still a super cool experience. I would suggest you to go. It's definitely a part of the AMEC experience, but just you know, have a good time. Okay, April 3rd, Friday. Started off with a HOD meeting, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I was voting on the national positions. Still super cool. Like even on like a small level, making an impact on this greater national organization. It was a super cool experience. I would suggest a tip for the viewers: if you serve on the House of Delegates, that you can bring your laptop to these meetings, and often would use this time to study while I'm listening to what is being talked about, or while like the people giving their speeches and stuff like that. And that, I think that is the norm. I think a lot of the students there were still working, because we're all still med students, still busy. A lot of us had tests that next week, like I talked about before. And then after that HOD meeting on Friday, there was a then after the HOD meeting on Friday, I went back to the exhibit hall. I knew from that first day, after talking to some residents, that there would be new residents coming the next day. So okay, so it's a good reason to go back to the exhibit hall each day, because you don't know who you'll get to talk to. There might be different people sitting at the tables, especially residents are busy. You know, they're working, so they may have a shift when you're not there, or may have a shift the next day. So you should go back and, you know, still introduce yourself and talk to more people, which is super cool. Oh, and Another tip is that every year at AMEC, you can get your headshots taken. And I know that talking to other students that they said that these headshots are often better than the ones that your school helps you take. They're free, and a lot of people will use these headshots that they take at AMEC and they put them on their residency, their ERAS applications. So I feel like that's a good tip. I unfortunately did not get a chance to do that because the line was super long and I was busy doing other things, but I would definitely suggest you to do that. And then after the exhibit hall, later that evening, there was a orthopedic surgery interest group mixer. And I would suggest if you join the SNMA, at whatever local chapter you are, you can then join the interest group for whatever specialties you're interested in. And they share plenty of resources, and especially if you're at AMEC, they'll share events that they may have. So like I said, the orthopedic surgery interest group had a mixer, had students and like M1s and 2s and 3s and 4s who just match orthopedics, and like residents in orthopedics, and just being able to talk to all of them, and like especially being an M1, talking to different people on every level of this, to learn from them, to connect with them, get their numbers and emails and stuff. I have a long list of people I need to reach out to after this weekend, but just expanding your network. One of the most important things I learned is that almost just as important as your grades and your your research you have, it's really who you know and who knows you, who can vouch for you, and even med students with each other sharing information about different programs and stuff like that, the culture program, especially when you do away rotations and stuff like that. It's very important. I think that that's one of the biggest things I got out of coming to AMEC was the networking opportunities and being able to build out and fill out my network. I definitely is going to carry me into the future. I was able to learn so much over this weekend. I can't even say. Then Saturday, April 4th, Saturday is like the last like real official day of AMEC. Started off today with another HOD meeting. It was the new president presenting their platform for the year, talking about future events and stuff. AMEC is going to be in Las Vegas in 2027, so that's going to be a great time. After the HOD meeting, I had signed up for a Nth Dimensions Bioskills workshop at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. I would suggest like anyone who is a first year coming into med school who's interested in a lot of the competitive specialties such as orthopedics, dermatology, what else? There's I think maybe radiology, PM&R. Look into Nth Dimensions. They have summer programs, and it is another like nonprofit organization that is meant to help people of color and disadvantaged backgrounds get into these competitive residency programs, and they have a pretty good track record of doing so. And they have not only these summer internships, they also have their own conferences, and they also have these bioschool workshops where you can go and talk to some doctors and also talk to residents who were a part of this program. And it was just a great like networking experience. There was a panel where you could ask them questions and all that. And also, because it is a bioskills workshop, they were teaching us how to place a plate and screws, and talk to us about like different surgical techniques. And if you're interested in dermatology, they were even talking to us about how to like do skin biopsies and sutures, and you actually get to get your hands on these different things. I feel like it's a super cool exposure. And yeah, that was just definitely a highlight of my AMEC experience. Also, while I was at the Nth Dimensions event, I got recognized by one of you guys. And that was just a super cool experience. I feel like in my head, this is just like a very small thing. And I realize at this point, I've probably been seen by like a couple thousand people at this point. It's like, okay, but it doesn't feel real. And then I get to see someone in person. I say, oh, hey, yeah, I've seen your videos, stuff like that. It's like, it's so surreal. It's super cool. I really want to build a community with this. I really love mentorship, and this is why I do this. I want to be a Black doctor who makes more Black doctors. So seeing people interact with me in person makes it all so much more real for me, which is like super cool. Oh yes, and then I had to, the end of the admissions event was from 10 to 2:30, and then directly after that, we had white coat pictures. And so I'm sure you all have seen the videos of like all the students in their white coats all together. It's a really beautiful experience to see like this many people, especially like Black people, people of color all around you, like doing excellent things, all in one place. It's super inspiring just to see. It's like, I don't even know how many people from how many different schools, but just like all over the country. It was super cool experience, super inspiring. And then for like the last like official event of AMEC, there's the AMEC closing gala. I would suggest y'all bring something really nice to wear. A lot of the ladies have really nice dresses. The guys have really nice suits on. I wish I stepped up my suit game for the last day. But yeah, it was a super cool experience. They have food and the dance floor and the DJ. Super cool way to end off the conference. But yeah, I would suggest like anyone who is a pre-med or medical student, for you to go to AMEC. It is a beautiful experience. It really feels like almost like a family reunion of Black medical students, residents like around the U.S. and it's super cool. So many people will go to AMEC multiple times from year to year, and people see the same faces and build connections with people. I'm super excited to see some of the friends I've made at AMEC over this past weekend in the future. Yeah, it's like I would highly recommend attending. I would definitely be there next year. So if you guys see me at AMEC 2027 in Las Vegas, don't be afraid to say hello. I would love to connect with all of you. Like I said, I want this to be real. I want this to be more than just digital. I really want to build a community and networking and mentorship. This is why I do this. I want to truly be a Black doctor who makes more Black doctors. So yeah, this is a beautiful experience. I would suggest everyone to be a part of this. And yeah, thank you for stopping by my video and giving it a watch. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions for me, anything about my journey or anything, you have ideas that I should make videos about in the future, just drop them down below. Yeah, well, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.